So, you're gonna kind of hate me at the start of this story, but don't worry about it, because at the end I get punched in the face. So, my best friend, this guy named Daniel, he and I have this system, right? When we're out and, like, we happen to meet some girls or whatever, or a girl wanders in the circle, and it's not appropriate to say what we think too obviously, if one of us says anything about a 1, that means that that guy digs her. And if anyone says anything about a 0, that means that that guy doesn't. Okay. So, it's about a year and a half ago, we're at his friend Diana's house in New York City. And Diana lives with 2 guy roommates, and one of them is this guy named Eric. And Eric's dating this girl named Mary. And we're all hanging out at the apartment waiting to go out that night, and Eric and Mary come in. And when Eric and Mary come in, the beauty of this system is you can be really subtle. You can be like, hey, look at that one guy over there, and no one has any clue you're talking about. But what Dave does when Mary walks in, he's like, this cocktail, Brady? And I was like, yeah. And he's like, I think someone put some 1s in my cocktail. And I was like, no one put any 1s in my cocktail, but I could see why there's 1s in your cocktail, but mine's definitely just 0s. And he's like, no, mine definitely has some 1s in it. It's got a lot of 1s. Now, keep in mind, this is his good friend's roommate's girlfriend. And Daniel's a good guy, but, you know, we're all in a circle, we're all talking, and he sort of slowly kind of nudges her off, and they're kind of chatting, and they're laughing, and the smile is that kind of like, we both like each other's smile. And I've had a few drinks, and so at some point someone's telling some story, I don't know, maybe it's something like, God, it was so obvious how drunk he was. And I was like, you mean like as obvious it is that Daniel and Mary are flirting with each other? Which struck me as, like, it was funnier than that when I did it, but it was like really funny, whatever it was exactly that I said to me, but like, you know, Eric and Mary had been dating since high school. Like, it wasn't a cool thing to do. Alright, so, fast forward about a year and a half. New Year's Eve comes around. And Daniel lives in the West Coast. I live here in Philadelphia. I have this really good friend named Cindy, who's this really beautiful girl that Daniel's always kind of had a thing for, and he's always down, an opportunity to hang out with Cindy. And Daniel and I have this belief in this thing, and the thing is the power of 4. If you can find 4 good people to go out, just 4, no more, no less, but 4 really good people, and they've got a good chemistry, they can own the night. Doesn't matter, like those 4 people will just own whatever room they're in, right, if they're the right 4 people. Well, Cindy's got a lot of good energy, and she's going there to meet this girl, Elena. Elena's actually who introduced me to Cindy back when I lived in Madison, Wisconsin, but I'm better friends with Cindy, whatever. Cindy lives in New York now. Elena lives in New York. Cindy goes to see her. I'm like, Daniel, come to New York. We're going to spend New Year's with Cindy and Elena. It'll be great. Daniel's like, that's fantastic. I'd love to get with Cindy. I'm coming to New York. He's always down to come there. So we meet up. It's a couple days beforehand. We go out a couple nights. We go to the MoMA. We're like, we are this perfect circle of 4. We are definitely like power of 4, on fire. Like, this is going to be a good New Year's Eve. Now, something you need to know about me at this point is that I'm a little bit crazy, and while I may be a guy who has a code for telling my buddies whether or not I want to sleep with a girl, I may be that guy, I'm also a guy who typically, most of the time, does horribly with women. And if you guys have been to StorySlam before, you've heard me tell some of these stories. So, I'm terrible. And I was so bad in 2009 that I had actually, at the end of the year, had come to the decision, I'm also a wannabe writer, I was resolved not to date anyone for all of 2010, and I was going to write a book about, like, explicitly resolving not to go out with anybody, not to meet anybody. My girlfriend's in the back corner. It didn't work out. I'm not writing the book, but so we're hanging out with Cindy and Elena, and I kind of have this crush on Elena, right? And so we're hanging out on New Year's, and Daniel is like, look, you've got to make a move on Elena. You got to make a move on Elena. And I'm like, no, I'm going to write a book. I can't do that, but I do kind of have this thing for, and Daniel has this thing where he's kissed a girl on New Year's like every year for like 10 years now, and he can't not kiss a girl on New Year's. He's got to kiss a girl on New Year's, and there is no chance that Daniel is ever going to be into Elena ever, but he's totally down with making out on New Year's so he can keep his streak alive. So he makes out with Elena at New Year's, which is a totally dick thing to do. Guys, do not do that. It puts me in a terrible mood. I drink like I never want to be invited to a party again. And these people are not inviting me to party again, but Eric and Mary show up about 3 in the morning to this party, and Eric's the guy who I pissed off with a joke about Mary and Dave. And so I get Eric, and we're talking, and he's with some circle of guys I don't even know, and I'm like, this guy Eric is such a good guy, and I one time did something that I shouldn't have done, and it wasn't cool, and so I take Eric's fist, and I'm like, Eric, you can hit me if you want. He's like, I'm not going to hit you, Brady. I was like, it's fine. And I punch myself across the face like 6 times. And you know, people wake up after drinking a lot and they have hangovers, but they're in their head. And I woke up and my jaw really hurt. And I was like, why did my jaw hurt so badly? And it was like, oh, right, because I made that guy punch me across the face 6 times. That's why my jaw hurt so badly. But my jaw's fine now. Daniel is actually kind of dating Mary. And everything's cool.